Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Wrestle Empire. It is night 2 of the final PLE of Season 1 here in World Wrestling Affliction. And we are kicking off with the interesting tag team match of these two men, Luther Ramon and Pollux, formerly known as Tim Taylor, of Bushido, both having interesting paths to joining Bushido, between Tim Taylor being assaulted and losing his opportunity in that very first PLE in the 10-man gauntlet match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Luther Ramon then being assaulted in said gauntlet match by Trav and losing the World Heavyweight Championship. They had a reason to come back, and they had an interesting return, both of them. Wait. No way. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. Andy Walker of the Rebel Club is back here in Wrestle Empire. Now, Andy Walker has been out for half the season after being thrown through a lamp backstage thanks to Pollux. And he stares Pollux right in the face. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, you know, as I said, Pollux was the man who put Andy Walker through that ladder. At the time, he was a masked assailant. We didn't know who he was. And he was going after this man, Tyson Walker. And, you know, he was attacking people left, right, and center to get to Tyson Walker. Tyson Walker finally beat Pollux in a match, forcing him to unmask and reveal that he was the former Tim Taylor, now called Pollux. And that is how Pollux came back and joined Bushido. And obviously Luther Ramon coming back just before Road to Destiny, claiming to be the World Heavyweight Champion because Castro didn't win the title against Trav. His team won the War Games, and that's how he won the title. So he called Castro a paper champion and claimed himself as the real world champion because he never lost the title. That led to the ladder match where Castro Lazaro walked out as champion still, confirming that he is really the champion. But we'll see if he can defend that title here in this main event. You just see the cuts all over the face and body of Andy Walker there. And they very much come from being thrown through that lamp backstage, or the stage light, or whatever it was. From Pollux. So he's finally back after being injured indefinitely. We didn't know how long he'd be out. I mean, he required a lot of surgery to surgically repair those wounds and remove a lot of glass from his body. It was one hellacious injury that he suffered from being put through that light. Some even questioned whether he would be able to wrestle ever again. But how fitting is it that he kicks off this match against Pollux, finally getting his revenge. I mean, his brother got some revenge for him, but he wants his revenge on Pollux, and he is beating Pollux down around this arena right now. And how interesting is it to see Tyson Walker and Andy Walker in the same ring again as a tag team? We haven't seen that in nearly 10 years. And I couldn't think of a more fitting match for them to reform as a tag team. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I should mention how night 2 ended with that sort of controversial women's intercontinental title match. Being a submission match, it should not have been a count-out victory. And therefore, I have a statement from our general manager, Davis Morris. And it reads, due to the fact that our referee counted a 10 count when there should be no 10 count, and the fact that Rose Hamilton was very much dominant in that second half of that match, it appeared that she would have won the match had she not have been counted out. And also revealing the footage, it is very clear that Hannah O'Grady took advantage of the 10 count that should not have happened, as she was being thrown into the ring and deliberately took a fall so that she couldn't make the 10 count. It is by my choice that Rose Hamilton is the new Women's Intercontinental Champion going into Season 2. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is definitely a call for the ages. I mean, that, as our general manager said, you know, that was Rose Hamilton's match. She had it won. And the ref just didn't get the memo that it wasn't meant to be a 10 count match. And simply put, it should not have happened. It should not have ended the way it did, especially being the main event of night 1. You can't have a match end like that. So congratulations, Rose Hamilton. You have been handed the Intercontinental Championship, and you will challenge Taryn Sky, or Taryn Sky will challenge you in the first PLE of Season 2 here in World Wrestling Affliction. Now, to break kayfabe for just a second for you guys, regarding what happened at the end of night 1. So I tend to set these match cards up and will hit record and do something else on my computer. I did set the match to be no countout, because I wanted that match to just be a giant brawl around the arena, and then, you know, finally have someone lock in a submission in the ring to end the match. While recording the video, I looked away, and then when I looked back, I saw Rose Hamilton Rose Hamilton standing in the ring with the victory. So I assumed that she had submitted and gotten the victory there. But yeah, when I was editing together night 1, ready to like sit down and record, I noticed that it was a count out loss, and I'm like, that shouldn't have happened. If I had noticed that, I would have like re-recorded the match with the proper rules on. So rather than going back and having to record a whole match and sit through it, especially with being so behind on the season, I thought it best to just be like, look, yeah, it happened. I'll make a kayfabe reason that Davis Morris gave her the title due to the ref. I really hope that, like, I mean, it's 2K, there's always going to be glitches, but I've never had, like, rules changed on me like that. And it very much, like, put a damper on what was a very good match between the two to, like, end it there. It was just, yeah, I was not happy with it. I thought Rose Hamilton won. I was happy because it was like a perfect ending to that rivalry of, you know, finally getting the victory after Hannah O'Grady just had one up on her the entire season. And for it to end in such a strange way. I may pick up their rivalry at some stage in season 2 just to like have a proper end, but for now, that is the end that it ends on, and I'm not happy with it. But it's 2K being 2K. Things happen. You can't always plan around it. So I digress. But for now, we move back into this show. And here we have the tag to Luther Ramon. And this has very much been Ramon and Pollux just beating down on Andy Walker, not letting him get a tag into Tyson for most of this match. Just beating him down now. And then the knee to the face. Tyson Walker getting ready for it. Here we go. The walk of life. Goes to the cover now. 1, 2. Kick out at 2. Walker can't believe it. Finally getting a tag in to his brother. Now Tyson Walker coming in with the freshness over the other 2 opponents. But it doesn't matter because Luther Ramon catches him out immediately. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we do have some amazing matches planned for you here this evening. I mean, on top of this match, we also have the title for title light heavyweight and men's intercontinental championship match. We have the women's world title triple threat 3-way dance match. We also have the women's tag titles triple threat ladder match. And then not to mention, night 3 will be the big 3 Stages of Hell World Heavyweight Championship match between Trav and Castro. I can't think of a better way to end the season than with the feud that has lasted the entire season. This isn't about Trav and Castro, this isn't about Castro versus Parabellum. This isn't about Next Gen versus Parabellum. This is about Trav versus Castro, one-on-one, settling the score that has been running for years between these two. But for now, we focus on here on night 2, before we get to that 3 Stages of Hell main event at night 3 of the PLE. Now Pollux twisting the leg of Andy Walker now. And punches and slaps coming out of Pollux. Nice spin around, sit out powerbomb there. And then a stunner out of nowhere from Pollux. Andy Walker just flat out on the ring. As Pollux goes to the top rope. Big swanton bomb out of nowhere. Goes to the cover. 1, 2, kick out at 2. And a stunner again. Goes to the cover. Could this be it? 1, 2. Kick out at 2. Andy Walker very confident in his brother that he would kick out. He didn't even move a muscle to try to break up that pin. But Pollux immediately getting him into the corner, tagging in Luther Ramon. Oh, and the Claymore to Pollux. I don't think that Tyson Walker realized Luther Ramon was tagged in there. Now, Walker getting fired up. Goes for a second Claymore, but countered Luther Ramon. Ramon rolls up for the cover, goes for the cover now. 1, 2, 3, it's it! And Luther Ramon and Pollux of Bushido just beats the Walker brothers here in what was a very heated tag team match between these two teams. But it's so good to see, even on a loss, it's so good to see Andy Walker back in the ring once again. But there you see, that was the end of it. The Swanton, the two stunners. Though it didn't end, it definitely put a damper on the Walkers. And then there was the second stunner. There was the kick out at 2. But then immediately, see if the recovery, you see the tag there, immediately stands up with a Claymore, using the last of his energy, thinking he was going to put down his his opponent. But it turned out Luther Ramon was the legal man and caught him out to get the pin. Congratulations to these two on kicking off night 2 with a victory. But now we move on to our next match. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is finally time for your triple threat tag team ladder match. I'll let the announcer announce it. Now, Alexia Butler and Isabella Hunt, formerly the Chick Crew, now part of the family Michaels. You know, these two have definitely been a strange tag team going into this match. I mean, or going into this season, I should say. They were put together randomly for a tag match and won the tag titles early on in the season, and have been pretty dominant in the women's tag team division since. But the whole reason this match started is these two teams right here, Bushido and the family Michaels, had a number 1 contendership match. And I mean, between Bushido and the family Michaels, they had a number 1 contendership match, and the family Michaels won. But the champions came out and assaulted these two right here, Amber Valentine and the villain Olivia Jade, after the match, adding insult to injury, rubbing salt in the wound. So our general manager made it a triple threat ladder match instead, giving Bushido another opportunity at the Women's Tag Team Championships. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen, the Lane Twins, the current champions. Been a very dominant tag team here in the second half of this season, winning the tag titles while controversial in that 4 corners tag match, which included these two other teams, as well as the formerly Rebel Club before they split. And sure enough, they held those titles since, defending them in the War Games match at Last Stand, defending them multiple times against Rebel Club, and then famously at Legacy last month with the Snapmare immediate pin. But they can't do that here in this match, as those titles suspended well above the ring. You have to get a ladder in the ring, carry it out, and immediately all women thrown over the top rope. And Alexia Butler immediately going for a ladder there. And Amber Valentine grabbing a second one from underneath the ring. These teams are definitely coming in with strategy, as Olivia Jade came to help Amber Valentine get that second ladder in the ring. But now everyone's brawling over those ladders around the arena. Oh my god! Alexia Butler just suplexed Alice Lane onto the ladder there. And now we've got a chair involved here. And there's just chaos everywhere with these matches. Bringing in a table now. What is it with every ladder match in this company being turned into a tables, ladders, and chairs match? I swear. You go back and look at the history of ladder matches here in World Wrestling Affliction, I swear at least 90% of ladder matches, if not all of them, have had chairs and tables brought into the mix as well. And finally, we get a ladder in the ring. Sorry, I went quiet for a second there. I didn't know what to call. There was just so much chaos going on all around the arena between these multi-teams here. I have a bad habit of booking multi-man or multi-woman matches as well. Multiple person matches, and then never knowing how to call the chaos when there's all around the arena. You don't know what to call. But there you see Amber Valentine just pressing Isabella Hunt above her head. And Valentine grabs that ladder that her tag team partner set up, then going out to fight the members on the outside, giving Olivia Jade the chance to climb by herself. No interference. That being said, she's got the title, but Morgan Lane tips the ladder off as she falls off. And now Lane and Butler teaming up to get rid of Amber Valentine before Alexia Butler attacks Morgan Lane there. Lane counters though. Gets her in the corner. Oh, Meteora from Alice Lane there. And now Butler and Valentine fighting. The green-haired girls in the middle of the ring. Isabella Hunt climbing in now. Now Valentine trying to get up. Love bomb! The love bomb from Amber Valentine now. And this is just chaos. Valentine grabs that ladder once again. Sets it up, not quite in the middle of the ring, but probably close enough to get a grab on those titles. And then while Hunt's distracting Amber Valentine, never mind. I was going to say Butler was coming in to grab the titles. A code breaker there from Alice Lane, but Alexia Butler catching Lane out while Isabella Hunt holds those tag titles so close to grasping. She does it. She does it, and the family Michaels, Isabella Hunt and Alexia Butler, are your new tag team champions. Ladies and gentlemen, they started the season off as women's tag champions. They're ending the season as women tag champions. The Chick Crew, also known as the Family Michaels, are very much our new women's tag champions. But ladies and gentlemen, every team in this match put on an amazing showing. They all came in with their own strategy. I mean, you saw Bushido, Amber Valentine, and the villain Olivia Jade immediately going for ladders, trying to get it in the match. The Lane Twins definitely working together as a team, trying to take out everyone in the ring. But it came down to Isabella Hunt, Alexia Butler, Isabella Hunt going for the titles, while Butler played defense. And the new champions, two-time women's tag champions here in World Wrestling Affliction. Congratulations to these two. Let's move on to our next match of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are here with our semi-main event of the evening. And it is the Title for Title match. Now, this whole match spanned because this man right here, the light heavyweight champion, basically called out Jet Kobayashi of Bushido and said, look, I feel like you can do better on your own. You don't need Bushido. Look at how much you've achieved on yourself, earning the Intercontinental Championship. Jet Kobayashi wasn't having any of it, so Angelo Epps decided to say, look, let's have a title for title match, and I'll show you just how good it feels to win a match without anyone's help. And you gotta think, is Angelo Epps correct in this? I mean, if you consider the facts that this entire season, the only time we've seen Jet Kobayashi has been when he's trying to help Bushido. Like, he hasn't done anything on his own the entire time, and then the moment that he is set on his own to go for a singles championship, he walks out of the Elimination Chamber with that men's Intercontinental Championship around his waist. And I mean, you've got to think. Could Angelo Epps be right? Does this man belong on his own? I mean, he did great things in his career before Bushido. I mean, a multi-time TKWF Cruiserweight champion. He was the first ever Mayhem champion. I believe he was the multi-man champion at one stage too, when he was all Jet the Ninja. And then the moment he joins Bushido, sure, he's won a tag team championship with Bushido and TKWF, but Bushido haven't really succeeded that much this season. At all, for that matter. So, the fact that the one time he's not with Bushido, he wins a title, that's good. And there you see, ladies and gentlemen, the Light Heavyweight Championship and the Men's Intercontinental Championship on the line. The winner will walk out with both titles heading into Season 2. And when recording this is only like less than 9 hours away from being released in early access. And I'm hoping to have Wrestle Empire up today as of recording this. Once I do this, I've literally just got to sit down and record night 3, I should say, and then Season 1 is finished, finito, dunzo. And there you see both titles being held high above the ref's head. And we're off. Jet Kobayashi immediately with the collar and elbow tie-up. Kobayashi immediately starting this match like he got shot out of a cannon. But the chain wrestling now out of these two. And now Epps throwing him around, giving him a couple punches, calling him to get up now. And Kobayashi with the nice counter there, flipping him over on his face, kicks to the face now. And here we go with the flurry of kicks, big knee to the face. Punch to the back again. Elbow. Oh, nice kick there. And a missing dive from Angelo Epps. Drop toe hold, locking in the STF. Could we see a tap? No, we do not. Angelo Epps fighting it out. Now these two aren't just fighting for their championship, they're fighting for the opponent's championship as well. But they're also fighting to prove their points. Angelo Epps fighting to prove that Kobayashi doesn't need Bushido to be successful. And you gotta think, like, if Angelo Epps beats Kobayashi here, does that show that he doesn't need Bushido? Or does it show that he does because he couldn't win without them? Or, you gotta think, does Angelo Epps have enough confidence in Kobayashi that he's willing to give away his light heavyweight championship to prove to Kobayashi that he doesn't need Bushido? Big moonsault off the top rope there. Now goes to the cover. Could this be it? 1, 2. Oh, that was so close to a 3 count. Kobayashi can't believe it. That hand was so close to counting that 3, just saying Angelo Epps is lucky he had that burst of energy to kick out. or it would have already been finito, donezoed. It would have been finished. And Epps throwing those elbows now. Big spear from Angelo Epps, goes to the cover. Could this be it? 1, 2, kick out at 2. Big moonsault off the second rope, goes for a second cover. 1, 2, barely a 2 that time, not even a 2. The ref saying that was only a 1 count. And now Epps fighting away. Epps in the corner. Drops the knee. Now Kobayashi just bleeding from the head there. Shining Wizard. That's got to be it. Goes to the cover. Could this be it? 1, 2, 3. And ladies and gentlemen, in this title for title match, we have a victor. And as I was saying, you know, was Angelo Epps considering that he knew that he was going to lose to Kobayashi and was willing to give his title up to make his point? Or was... I'm not taking any from Kobayashi. I'm not saying that Angelo Epps threw this match to make a point. I'm thinking that he knew he couldn't lose to Kobayashi, so he put his title on the line to make a point. Either way, Kobayashi walks out of Wrestle Empire of Season 1 holding both titles in his hand. And I've got to commend him for that. This was basically Kobayashi's match the entire time. Though the replay does show a lot of Angelo Epps getting moves in, those were basically the only moves he got in, but that Shining Wizard just flat out knocked out Angelo Epps. You see like a little bit of a jolt, the blood pouring down the face of Jet Kobayashi as the man holds both titles above his head. He is now double champion going into Season 2. Congratulations to Kobayashi on that one. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move in to our main event of the evening. And here we have it, ladies and gentlemen, the main event of Night 2, the second last match of Season 1, I apologize. It's the last match of Night 2, the second last match of Season 1, as Night 3 is purely the 3 stages of Hell match. And this match, ladies and gentlemen, is certainly an interesting one, as this woman right here, still repping the Parabellum colors, despite Parabellum just completely dissolving a couple weeks ago. She's here to reclaim what she lost at the Chamber. She has been the most decorated women's champion that any of our companies have seen, defending time and time again against any opponent, including in the War Games match. Unfortunately, losing out in the Elimination Chamber to the new women's champion, Whitney Ranger. But this woman right here, the Queen, Ivy Fisher, has been a thorn in Kitty Hagen's side all season. Ivy Fisher, obviously the first World Wrestling Affliction Women's World Champion. And Kitty Hagen was her first challenger. Ivy Fisher won that first match. Kitty Hagen joins Parabellum and dominates Ivy Fisher time and time again until it became a point where Ivy Fisher was no longer allowed to challenge her in singles competition. But that's where Ivy Fisher got smart. She said, I can't compete in singles competition, but I can compete in multi-person competition. Hence, I'm entering the Elimination Chamber. But this woman right here, the very dominant performance in the Elimination Chamber, having 3 eliminations to her name in the chamber itself, including the 2 other women in this match, as she eliminated Kitty Hagen to have a new championship crowned in that match, and then beat Ivy Fisher in the final 2 to be crowned the Women's World Champion. And that's why Ivy Fisher's come out and she claimed, look, I was the second last. I have the right to verse you. You wouldn't have beaten me if it was just you and I in the ring. And then Kitty Hagen came out and said, look, if anyone gets a shot at challenging, it should be me, because I want my rematch clause. Whitney Ranger, the fighting champion, said, look, I'll take you both on. And surely enough, that's what she's doing here in this main event of night 2. It is a 3-way dance, which means elimination rules, triple threat, anything goes until one person is standing in the ring. And these 3 just brawling each other. No alliance is formed at all. They all hate each other and they all want the title. I don't even see any false people. False alliances is the word I'm looking for. They're not trying to work together for a split second and then fighting each other. They're just immediately attacking everyone. Now, Whitney Ranger is definitely the underdog in this match. Definitely the dark horse. Because if you think about it, Whitney Ranger hasn't had the best season so far. I mean, she's lost 90% of her matches that she's had here in World Wrestling Affliction. She was just lucky enough to win the qualifying match to enter the chamber, and then she entered in number 6, I believe, out of the pod. And she took out 3 people in that match, including the 2 people in this ring, to earn that world championship. But you got to think, she was the freshest woman in that match, coming in at number 6. And it came down to the fact that maybe Ivy Fisher and Kitty Hagen were just so fatigued that Whitney Ranger was just able to capitalize. Though this time, it's her time to shine, as they are both fresh in the match, you know, just started, no injuries, no weakness, no fatigue, nothing. And Whitney Ranger has already failed one opportunity at the Women's World title in a 3-way dance in the match against Emma Quinn and Kitty Hagen. Oh, nice backstabber from Whitney Ranger there. So that has to play in the mind of, I couldn't do it last time at Road to Destiny. Can I be able to do it here at Wrestle Empire? And that's the question that we will answer in this match, as Kitty Hagen and Ivy Fisher have basically been beating each other up, and Whitney Ranger's just been the side piece in this match. I mean, they just beat her because she's there. If Fisher and Hagen had their way, it would just be them 2 in the ring fighting. And you gotta think, would it be strategic to take out the world champion Whitney Ranger working together, so that it would lead to them being able to have that. I don't know where I'm going with this. I lost my train of thought. Hold on, I got it back. Sorry. It would be strategic of them to eliminate Whitney Ranger so they could, A, definitely have a new world champion, and B, have their one-on-one that they've been yearning for since the Chamber. I mean, this rivalry of Ivy Fisher versus Kitty Hagan has been a season-long thing. Now, Hagan on the top rope. Missing Ranger, missing Fisher, and landing knees first. Now, this is not a Force Count Anywhere match. I will remind that pinfalls and submissions do have to happen inside the ring. Now, Fisher finally in the ring, but Hagan still beating Ranger around the ring, or around the arena, I should say. Finally gets her in the ring. Fisher misses the trip as Hagan rolls Ranger in, goes to the cover. 1, 2, kick out at 2 from Ranger. And then Fisher swinging the chair. Ranger cuts her off with a clothesline. Kick to the back. Now Hagan's back in the ring. Ivy Fisher attacking Ranger. Kitty Hagan catching her from behind afterwards. Snake Eyes in the corner. But Fisher immediately catching Hagan with a swinging DDT. Goes for the cover. 1, 2. Kick out at 2. Now Ranger trying to get out of the ring. Leaving the 2 to fight. Oh, nice roll up. Goes to the cover. 1. Only a 1 count there. Hagan grabs that kendo stick from before. Nice leg sweep there from Ivy Fisher. Goes for a toe drop hold, but misses. Well, not misses, but countered from Hagan. And now Ranger with the kendo stick, swinging for the fences. I think she hit Hagan, but Fisher was also doing a move, so she didn't have a chance to like move or flinch. Big ripcord lariat there. Oh, and the kendo stick busted over the head of Kitty Hagan now. Fisher on the outside of the ring. Ranger taking the time to taunt. Hagan with the knee strike to the face. Nice move there from Whitney Ranger. But Fisher no-sells it and gets up immediately. The swinging DDT again. Goes for the cover. Could this be it? 1, 2. No, that was so close to a 3 count just then. We were so close to having a new world champion crowned. And Hagan with the punch to the gut. Kinshasa goes to Ranger. That's got to be it. 1, 2, 3. And we have a new women's world champion, ladies and gentlemen. Will it be Hagan? Will it be Fisher? We find out in this final 2. Big Superwoman punch coming out of Kitty Hagen there. And then the reverse whip from Fisher. Oh, and busted open with that kendo stick. Broken over the face. I don't know what Fisher was going for, but she missed it either way. Big Kinshasa from Ivy Fisher. This is it. Goes for the cover. 1, 2, 3. No! Kitty Hagen is throwing a fit. Ivy Fisher got the shoulder up at the very last millisecond. Hagen still staying on the offensive now. Blood pouring from Ivy Fisher's face. Now Fisher has that kendo stick. Swinging for the fences. Hitting Hagen in the face. Throwing it down. Goes to the cover. Could this be it? 1, 2. Kick out at 2. Definitely not enough for a 3 count. Fisher can't believe it. This is Fisher's chance at redemption right now. Her chance to prove that she can beat Hagen in one-on-one competition. She's only done it once this season, but she has an opportunity to do it once again and be crowned the Women's World Champion for a second time. Be the first ever second-time Women's World Champion in World Wrestling Affliction. Ending the season the same way you started as champion. This is your chance right now, Fisher. Can you do it? Goes to the cover after those knee strikes. 1, 2, 3. She does it. Ladies and gentlemen, Ivy Fisher just went through a gauntlet in that match between Whitney Ranger and Kitty Hagen, but came out on top as champion. And she finally beat the demon that has stopped her every chance that she's had. There you saw the Superwoman punch. That's what almost put her down for the 3 count. That was the Kinshasa that had her at the very 2.9. And I think the fact that Kitty Hagen didn't win here, Ivy got into her head. She lost her temper, she lost her cool, and Ivy Fisher capitalized. And now she walks out as Women's World Champion. There was the 3 count after those knees. Congratulations to Ivy Fisher. And ladies and gentlemen, we will see you later on this evening for Night 3, the final match of this season.